Motorhead Garage, the program that each week introduces you to and shows you how to install the latest in exciting and innovative products for your vehicle. Motorhead Garage is presented by NHOU Protective Coatings. Now here's your host, Dave Dobson.
This is Motorhead Garage presented by NHOU Protective Coatings. Now, Schaefer Oil has been around for 182 years. Aaron, that's the oldest company doing this in the United States. Is that correct?
That's correct. We've been around since 1839. We're the oldest lubricant manufacturer in the United States. Schaefer actually got its start in soap and candles, but one of the byproducts from that was making grease and oil for the wagon wheels and for the steam engines. Since then, as the soap and candle business sort of died down and World War II happened, we started getting into lubricants full-time. That's when Schaefer really became the company that we know today. Our focus today is quality lubricants, high-performance lubricants for different industries, construction, manufacturing, agriculture, diesel performance, racing. Anything that spins or turns and needs lubrication, we have it. There's several different ways to get our product. The first is going to the website, schaeferoil.com, going to the Buy Now button, and purchasing smaller quantities, case goods, 5-gallon buckets. There's also, you can get direct from the factory representative that can steer you to the right products, 55-gallon drums, totes, whatever you need. And finally, you can go to a local retailer. And if your local retailer does not carry Schaefer products, have them give us a call.
How does a company that old continue to evolve successfully with the times?
Well, we've stayed true to our purpose. You know, we've committed to staying family-owned and American-made. We manufacture all of our products in-house so we can control the quality of it.
Well, let's talk about quality and let's talk about products with our good friend Rick. And Rick, what'd you bring for show and tell to the class today?
As Aaron mentioned, we have a lot of products. They're all high-quality products, but a couple of them we wanted to share with you guys. The first one here is our Penetro 90. It's a high-performance penetrating oil. A great thing about our penetrating oil is it is an oil-based penetrating lube, so it won't dry out. It will actually stay moist. It will penetrate rust, any corrosion. Safe to use on tap and die sets, electric motors. It just has a lot of general uses. It's a must-have for any garage.
Moving on down the line there, some oil as well, engine oil?
It used to be, everybody put 1030 in everything. Didn't matter what it was, it got 1030. Those times have changed, as we all know. Clearances are tighter. So now everything is vehicle specific as far as viscosity grades, detergent packages and everything like that. At Schaefer's, we have a wide variety of oils for different applications. 530s for your automotive vehicles, 1540s for your diesel applications, 540s for your diesel applications, the full synthetics, and then as well as 2050s for your racing, your motorcycles, and things of that nature.
Whenever you have moving parts, of course, grease comes into play.
Sure.
And you guys cover that as well at Schaefer.
Yes, we have a very good selection of grease available depending on the application. If it's farming, agriculture, racing, one grease doesn't necessarily fit all. There is some that can do a lot, but there is certainly some greases that have better applications than others.
This is really cool. This is the Citrol. Tell us what that does.
So the Citrol is a degreaser we have. It's a great product. It's non-toxic, so you can spray it and use it on places, your engine, that's going to remove any grease, oil, stains, things like that. The good part is, it smells great. It smells like oranges. It's not like your typical degreaser hazardous material where, you open it up and it about knocks you over. It's a fantastic product and it works great.
And you're going to want to buy two because, ladies, if you're working in the garage, your husband's going to want some for in the house, too, for getting stains out of laundry and that kind of thing. So you knew about Schaefer Oil before you came to work at Schaefer a number of years ago.
Yes.
What did you know about the company?
It was one of those products you've heard of but didn't understand a lot about it, didn't know why it was different. I do some mechanic work on the side. A local farmer actually had a tractor, a liner O-ring went out, so all of his coolant was going into his engine. So every morning he would drain a little oil out, which was coolant oil mix, and then put water back in it just to get him through the spring. And the discussion was that's going to ruin your engine. He said, I don't care, I got to get through, we'll replace it later. So that engine actually made it through the whole spring. Had Schaefer's oil in it, and the blow-by tube, anything that was supposed to have oil in it looked like, a milkshake essentially from the coolant oil mix. But it was still running, and it still ran fine until the day we took it out. It was a real eye-opener that all oils aren't the same, the additive packages and the protection you get, that does make a difference.
And what is it like to represent a family-run company that has a quality product like that?
It's a great company. You never have to second guess if the quality's there or the people, because it's a tight-knit company where it's not big corporate where you don't know anybody. Everybody has the phone numbers to the people they need. They can get answers. They can get hold of people, and that means a lot, especially in today's world.
Schaefer Oil's been making the highest quality lubricants for 182 years, and they've been doing it in the United States. You can find them at schaeferoil.com, and there's a promotion code for our viewers. It's Motorhead10. You get 10% off at schaeferoil.com. We'll be right back with Motorhead Garage, presented by NHOU Protective Coatings. More slick stuff when we come back.
Motorhead Garage, presented by NHOU Protective Coatings, is brought to you by RockAuto.com. All the parts your car will ever need. BrothersTrucks.com, your #1 source for 1947 to 87 Chevy and GMC truck restoration. Magic Creeper, the most versatile creeper ever. NH Oil Undercoating, the official oil-based rust prevention system. And by Thick Res, automotive body parts for any vehicle.
Welcome back to Motorhead Garage, presented by NHOU Protective Coatings. If you're a hot rodder, maybe you're a racer, or if you're a builder, you've probably bought a crate engine before, and you know once you get it home, there's a whole lot more work to do. But Doug, at Prestige Motorsports, you have the ultimate turnkey package, and it makes everything super simple. How's it work?
Well, as you see here, everything from radiator to the fuel system and anything in between, we have you covered.
So why does this make things more efficient for me, and why does the ultimate turnkey package make things more affordable as well?
It takes the guesswork out of it. We've figured out what pulley stacks fit with what radiator and fan combinations to properly cool the beast that you purchase, selecting the proper transmission and fuel system, along with headers to fit the chassis. As far as price standpoint, it can save time and hassle searching those parts out, as well as save money on shipping, because instead of multiple packages, all of this is going to come in one crate.
How does the process work? Am I just going and saying, I want this combination? Or, you know, if I've got a vehicle, what do I do?
If you have a vehicle, you have this dream and passion for X crate engine, and you know you need all of this, we'll start with what core engine long block that you would desire, based on power usually, and characteristic of drivability, and then lead into fuel and ignition, the pulleys and accessories. You want air conditioning, be comfortable, power steering, obviously select a radiator that's going to properly fit and cool. And then, are you an automatic or a manual transmission guy? You like to pull gears, then obviously American Powertrain, they provide the 5 and 6 speeds for us, the fuel delivery, and the header and exhaust system. So we pretty much cover everything on the drivetrain side.
How do I know that you know this is all going to work together?
We have obviously the engine dyno to test and confirm and verify everything as far as the engine's concerned, so it's a hassle-free installation. We have a vehicle installation center that also performs all of the installations. So we've done some medium to very high-end builds, and we've used that as an educational purpose to properly select these packages to benefit you.
Now, when folks just buy a crate motor, they're trying to Frankenstein everything together and get the parts. What are some of the problems they may come back to you with if they don't buy the ultimate turnkey package?
Could be that they've selected a pulley system based specifically on style, really didn't take into consideration fitment. And so then they're asking the question of what radiator can I use or what fans can I use? That's probably one of the most common, outside of other general mistakes on fuel and ignition requirements and things of that nature.
What's the education process like, telling guys that have been doing this for a long time that this is a better way to go?
Well, again, it takes that guesswork out. We've done a lot of these installation of these packages, so we can guarantee we know that it's going to fit. And for some of the, we'll say, older school guys out there, maybe fuel injection is not necessarily their thing. So you've been doing it 20 years, but in the last 5, it's changed a lot. So we try to stay on that leading edge of the technology.
Let's talk about this specific package. Obviously, a Chevrolet LS motor here.
So we cover a wide variety: small block, big block Chevrolet, small block, big block Ford, small block, big block Chrysler. We do the new Coyotes, Gen 3 Hemis, and then the LS and LT. So this being an LS, this is actually a 408, so it's a stroker. We primarily specialize in the strokers. Everything that we do is really a personalized approach for you. Something like this Borla induction on top, it's beautiful. If that's what you desire, obviously that's what we'll provide. Pulley systems, multiple companies, we pretty much have a program with everybody. And then radiators, transmissions, fuel systems.
Your service is amazing at Prestige. You're able to pick all the pieces and parts that are going to work for my vehicle. But once you drop this entire crate off at my house, the service doesn't stop there, does it?
No, and it didn't stop after we received your money either. So we provide automatic updates, photos, images, dyno videos, build sheets. Everything's uploaded as it happens to keep that customer in the loop. After the sale, obviously, we do remote tuning services, diagnostic services, initial startup. We have lots of documentation and videos to help educate the consumer on how to properly install this entire package. And you can always lean on us with a simple phone call.
And then what if something does go wrong down the road? What kind of warranty do you offer?
No hassle, 3 years, unlimited miles.
You can find the engine and the entire drivetrain that is personalized for you and tailored to your ride. Go to prestigemoto.com. We'll be right back with more Motorhead Garage presented by NHOU Protective Coatings, so come on back.
Dragonfire Tools, quality affordable storage. Proud sponsor of our DragonfireTools.com studio.
This is Motorhead Garage presented by NHOU Protective Coatings. You know, I've been looking at the news and I've seen catalytic converter theft is on the rise, and it kind of boggles my mind. John, why are people taking catalytic converters?
Because it's worth a lot of money. Now, back in the days, people were putting a lot of precious metals into these vehicles like palladium, platinum, rhodium.
Into the converters themselves.
Exactly. And it wasn't until about 3 years ago that we saw a huge spike in terms of the cost of those commodities. So now the converters are worth more than those vehicles itself.
How are people stealing catalytic converters from underneath the cars?
Well, these will have different tactics, but what we've seen typically is they're going to bring a Sawzall and some kind of automatic tool to remove the converters from the vehicle. It takes about 2-3 minutes tops.
Incredible. So you guys at Miller Cat have been producing catalytic converters for a long time.
Yes, so when we saw this problem start, we decided, hey, let's put our manufacturing capabilities behind protecting converters. We were researching and seeing how the thieves were actually removing the converters and coming up with ways to deter that from happening. So we bring in the raw materials, we form and cut all our shields, and then we sell them back to the market.
And everything's made in the USA.
Yes.
Now, this is for one of the most popular vehicles to have the catalytic converter stolen.
Correct. This is for the second generation Prius, the 2004 to 2009. The reason why that vehicle is particularly popular is because it has 2 underbody converters that are filled with precious metals. It's the easiest one the thieves get, and there's millions of them on the road.
Okay, so let's talk about how the shield actually works here.
So we've come out with several different designs on the Prius Generation 2 just because we've seen thieves change their tactics. It used to be just the flat shield was sufficient enough, but now because more of these vehicles have that flat shield, thieves have come up with ways to bypass that traditional shield. So this is our brand new redesigned Generation 2. The few difference is it comes with the deadbolt, the piece that you're holding there, and that's going to protect the front converter from getting stolen. This is where the thieves have actually been able to bypass the shield through the passenger wheel well. They're cutting before the converter and after it and yanking it out. And if you have a shield, they could probably remove it with the shield on there. But with this new design, that makes it very, very difficult. First, starting off with the deadbolt, and second, with the main shield here, which is made out of 304 stainless steel.
Well, first the deadbolt, I want to talk about the design here. The bend in it makes it particularly tough to cut through.
Correct.
And then the screw is an added measure of security as well.
Correct. So if the thief would try to cut through that front pipe, they're going to meet up with that stainless steel there. And if they were trying to come from the rear, they won't be able to do that because typically what they'll try to do is remove the 2 spring bolts that are holding the converter together. But with that screw in there, they're not going to be able to do that.
And that's a proprietary bit right there.
Yes. We use tamper-proof, or even we have an upgraded custom screw that we use to protect all our fasteners.
All right, let's talk about the security measures you've taken here.
So the number one difference between our shield and everyone else out there is ours is completely drill-less. We used to have a drilled shield, but we just said, hey, we can do better. We want customers to know that there's no modifications being done onto the vehicle. All it requires is the installation of 2 rivet nuts located right here onto your vehicle into existing holes. And once you've done that, you're good to go. First of all, it's easier installation, and second, it's a more form-fitting, more protected device here. We've created more space between the converter and the shield itself, so you're not going to get that noise and rattling that you'll get with some of the other shields. And again, all our shields will be fully removable and come with louver vents here to help with the heat dissipation. And also here we have a little window for the smog techs to be able to see exactly which converter you have on your vehicle, and you won't have any issues passing smog.
Is this system something I can install myself?
We try to make these as simple as possible, and that's why we did the redesign. All you'll need is a rivet nut tool in order to do the install for this particular shield. Other shields that we have for different vehicles, whether it's a truck or other passenger vehicles, may not need the rivet nut tool. It just really depends on the application. But this one, while we recommend professional installation, it is something that a handy person who loves to do their DIY can do themselves.
I know you mentioned the venting, and I bet you a lot of people are asking about heat getting trapped inside the shield. Is that a problem?
It is not, actually. Because we manufacture converters, we know what the standard operating temperatures of these converters should be. They actually should be very hot, 400 to 800 degrees. Some converters even come with heat shields themselves. Now, the problem is not with the converter overheating, it's actually with the cavity around the converter and trapping heat inside. What we do here at MillerCat is we look at the heat, air, and dissipation of all that. That's why we include louver vents specifically underneath the converters, but also look at how heat can escape and make sure we're not trapping heat anywhere in our shield. We do temperature testing, we do thermal probes, just to make sure that there's no heat underneath your vehicle, because that's what you don't want.
Well, a little investment can save you a whole lot of heartache and a whole lot of money later on. You can find these at catshield.com. They make them for a whole lot of vehicles, more and more all the time. We'll be right back with more Motorhead Garage presented by NHOU Protective Coatings and more cool products when we come back.
Motorhead Garage, presented by NHOU Protective Coatings, is brought to you by Magic Creeper, the most versatile creeper ever. Custom Auto Sound, the originator of classic car OEM fit radios since 1977. Bulldog Adhesion Promoter, save time and money with Bulldog. Forney Industries, innovating since 1932. We are welding. And by Easy Car Trade, we find the match, you make the trade.
Now, I grew up in Ohio, and like a lot of folks in the northern part of the United States, Joe, I was used to rock salt when I was growing up, and that led to corrosion and rust on your vehicle all the time. It was just kind of a fact of life. Now there's the brine that you drive through. You see them spray it down before a snowfall. How is that different from the salt that we used to see?
Oh, it's much more effective on the roads.
It's great on the roads, right?
Much more corrosive on your vehicle. So we've had a problem. Let's say this vehicle comes into us and the customer has to drive through brine to get it in. We were trying to prep and clean these vehicles so that they could be boss waxed, and we weren't happy with any of the products that were available on the market. And like so many of our products, what we did was turn to our chemists and said, hey, listen, we need to break down that sticky additive that they put in road brine to be able to effectively clean this vehicle and have a good surface to bond the wax to. And so we now developed our salt brine eliminator. And we use them on our own vehicles when they come in, if they've driven through the brine. We also sell it to you as a consumer to use just to maintain your own vehicle.
Once the salt brine remover has been used, what happens to the vehicle next?
So in this case, we're going to let it set overnight dry, and then we're going to apply our wax. In your case, you simply spray it with the foam applicator, rinse it off, and you've removed all of those contaminants, which a car wash doesn't do. Car washes, in many cases, are going to recycle their water. They cannot, and they do not, remove sodium in that process.
You go into a car wash thinking you're doing the right thing, and turns out it's not.
You're pushing that salt water back up into the body cavities, and it's detrimental. It's actually counterproductive.
How often does the oil need to be reapplied to the vehicle?
The oil should be reapplied on an annual basis, and you should avoid high-pressure undercarriage washes. Go in and have the shell wash, but you don't need to do anything underneath. Let the oil do its job.
Well, just like you get your oil changed, just like you change your transmission fluid, all that stuff, you can also change the oil underneath your car. It'll protect it from rust. You know, when you're surfing the interwebs, you're being barraged by all kinds of products for your car. And I see Tribotex all the time, Pasha. How do I know it works?
I would say you compare what other people say about us. NASA, National Science Foundation, Air Force, military applications. You can't find any other company that have so much praise from these very credible places. This is all big things. Even getting one of those would make somebody happy through the roof. We got several of them, and we keep growing in this space. For us, car applications, this is labor of love. This is what we love to do every day, But in reality, most of our revenue comes from defense applications, comes from extending longevity of the ground support equipment, or generators, or tanks in the military, where every single day costs often more than whole car at the consumer market.
So I know if NASA and the military are keen on it, it's going to work for me.
Yes, certainly we simplified consumer edition, so it is not just safe, but easy to apply, and you don't have to think much about how it's going to work. You just put it in, wait for 500 miles, and you will see the difference that's going to astonish you.
What are some of the things the military folks say about Tribotex?
We have a bunch of reviews online straight from the military folks, but one of the peculiar things that we heard over and over, that it's such an universal technology that they hadn't seen before.
You know, a lot of people just put like a little quote here or there, but you guys really go all out. You can see the whole report on your website, which I thought was really remarkable.
Yes, some of the reports are still not public, but the ones that we are already published are quite remarkable.
Well, those are some of the most important and the biggest labs in the world, and also another really important one is your users, folks that are using Tribotex saying how good it is. And if you're not satisfied, they will give you your money back. Check them out at tribotex.com and improve your ride. That is going to do it for this edition of Motorhead Garage. We thank you for tuning in. If you, by the way, have created a product that you want to see on Motorhead Garage, email Jeff at masterstv.com, and you can be right here in our studio. We hope you join us when we do it once again next week. And from our entire crew here, we'll see you next time on Motorhead Garage, presented by NHOU Protective Coatings. So long.